Welcome. This is very special to me. NIL, or name, image, and likeness, has been approved by the NCAA, and over the past week, we've already seen young men and women take advantage of these endorsement opportunities that are out there. But if you're somebody that has not taken advantage, or even if you have, and you're just trying to really better understand what's going on, this is the video for you. I don't want anything from you. I'm not asking you to join me as a counselor or anything like that. I don't want your money. I just want to give you the game that I have figured out, either because I've been involved or because I look at the landscape and see where it's going. So first, we want to start with things that you want to make sure you're aware of before you ever get started with trying to take advantage of your name, image, and likeness. The first thing is to understand that this is not payments from your school and from the NCAA for your services as an athlete. This almost, in a way, has very little to do with what you do as an athlete. And that might sound funny, that might sound interesting to some people, but it's the truth. You can have a profile that allows you to take advantage of your name, image, and likeness without actually being an athlete, which is why it's so crazy that it's taken so long for you to be able to make money off of the things that you do anyway. The second thing to understand is that just because you are a great athlete at a college or university does not mean that you have a profile that's going to make money when it comes to your name, image, and likeness. Understand this, and this is number one. This is why I'm going to tell you this now. Personality trumps performance. I know that sounds crazy. I know that that's probably some people are going to tell you, oh, well, just take care of your business on the field and everything else will take care of itself. That's not true. Take care of your business on the field and everything else will take care of itself when it comes to professional sports. But as far as name, image, and likeness, you need to have personality. You need to show a story or personality in order to take advantage of those types of opportunities. I'll explain more later. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the things that you cannot do as an athlete, because I think this is very important. And I don't want to take a whole lot of time on it because even though it's important, we want to focus on the things you can do. So, number one, student athletes cannot receive compensation for athletic performance, meaning you can't get paid just because you played well in the game. That's the same thing as a booster paying you for tackles or sacks or touchdowns. That's still illegal. Not saying I agree with it. I'm saying that's the rule. Number two, student athletes cannot receive money as inducement to attend a university, meaning a booster or a school can't say, hey, we're going to pay you money in order to come to our school. That is illegal. It's always been illegal. It's still illegal. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just telling you it's illegal. Number three, student athletes cannot use institutional created content as publicity to make money off of. That is the name, image, and likeness of the university, not the name, image, and likeness of the student athlete. So please understand the difference. They still have what is theirs. You have what's yours, but only one of you gets to use both, and it's not you. I definitely don't agree. However, those are the rules. Number four, students cannot use institutional marks in their paid advertisements, meaning you can't use the logos and the symbols and the emblems of your college and or university in your paid anything. That's very important. So I'm going to come back to number 4 later because I'm going to tell you a trick, but that's something you really need to understand. You cannot use these institutional marks in paid content. Not in paid content. That's illegal. Not saying I agree. Actually, I don't agree, but that's the rules. Number 5 is weird, but still it's a rule. Student athletes cannot miss classes. They can't miss responsibilities. They can't miss practices in order to do things for their NIL. So in other words, you can't miss any of your school responsibilities to try to make some money from your name, image, and likeness. Don't really know how they're going to regulate that because students miss school all the time in college, and most of the time it's because they are drunk or because they're lazy. So to be able to say, hey, you can't miss school to get, money kind of makes no sense. I actually remember being in college and missing a class because I had to work. So don't know how they're going to regulate that, but that is a rule, and it's something that will get you red flagged, if you will, which makes them look into what you're doing, and you don't really want them snooping around in what you're doing. This is all about you. This is not about the university. So those are the 5 things that you cannot do when it comes to name, image, and likeness. Okay, so we talked about the things we can't do. Let's talk about the things that we can do in order to take advantage of name, image, and likeness. The first thing you can do, you can establish your own business. You can establish your own business activities. You can receive compensation from those business activities. What does that mean? A lot of times when we talk about business, a lot of the business things ends up being, ways that you use who you are and your presence in order to make money off of, let's say Player Inc. So whatever your name is, Inc. Well, the number one, I won't even say the best, but the number one way we see it is in merchandise. So t-shirts, hats, any type of apparel, any type of jewelry and or extra accoutrement, if you will, that you would want to use in order to promote yourself, or if people wanted to support you, that's a way that you can make money. I remember specifically Brendan Schaub years ago walked away from the UFC because the UFC signed a deal with Reebok, and Reebok wanted to use Schaub's name, image, and likeness in their Reebok ads. Even though Schaub was not a champion, he had a really big name in the UFC. And if you don't know who Brendan Schaub is, he's a former football player. Schaub decided not to sign, and he decided not to sign because his presence was so big. He was selling his own merch, and he was making more money off selling his own merch than he would have if he signed the deal with Reebok through the UFC. So his thought process is, why would I give up this freedom and independence and to make all of this money when I'm going to get this little bit of money over here? And so he walked away. So merchandise can be really big, but your business could be anything, really anything. And you have the opportunity to use your name, your image, your likeness in order to promote that business. Now, the second way that you can make money is you can make money off your autograph. You can actually sell gear. So you can sell gear that you have autographed for autograph sessions. You just have to purchase that gear yourself. So now you purchase it, you sign it. Essentially, by signing it, you're acknowledging there's a different resale value, and then you can sell it. Now that gets into some tricky things with understanding how to manage your money and taxes and liability. But autograph sessions, setting up an autograph session at a restaurant or at a park, you can do things of that nature. Number 3, Student athletes can receive compensation for teaching or coaching skills or techniques in their sport on a fee for lesson basis, which means if you are a really good pitcher on the softball team, you can go and give pitching lessons to young players who may be looking for somebody to show them how to become great at pitching. You can now make money off teaching people the skills that you've spent your life perfecting, which means that you can go and be paid for camps and combines, anything that is specific to your sport or to your skill set that you want to market, that you believe people would actually pay for. Now, again, this is not something that is through the school. This is not something that is through the NCAA. This is something that you would do on your own. But it's a great way to make money, because if you have people who really admire what you've done and think that the way you play the game is a great way to play it, and they want their kids to play the game the way you play it, then now you have a market to be able to make money off of. So those are the ways that you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. Notice within there, none of that had to do with what you do on Saturdays if you're a football player, or any other day of the week if you play any other sport. It has to do with who you are, your personality, and the skills that you bring to the table. Now, here's a thing to remember. While I just said that it's not about what you do on the field, it's more personality than performance, I want you to understand there's two different thought process. One is performance. You're really, really good. People admire what you do as a performer. They want to get a piece of that greatness, if you will. They may pay you for some things within your name, image, and likeness. But personality is going to win out. However, when you combine both personality and performance together, you make extreme amounts of money. Take, for instance, someone like Zion Williamson, who already, if I'm not mistaken, had over 1 million followers on Instagram before he ever even entered the college ranks. Then he went to Duke. He performed extremely well at Duke. He could have probably made millions of dollars off of his name, image, and likeness at Duke. That's very important to understand. Now, how did he gain these followers? I'm glad you asked. He used the skills that he had to make him a viral sensation. Now, when it comes to personality, I won't say that Zion Williams has the best personality in the world. What I will tell you is he has freakish ability. And if there's one thing that we love, is a freak show. So whenever Zion Williams would go up and you would see this dude that is built like a defensive end or a defensive tackle or an offensive tackle or a tight end, when you see this guy jump 40 inches in the air, spin around and dunk, that brings eyes, that brings attention. And so as a high schooler, he started cultivating that brand just by posting videos of him dunking. Then as other people saw him, and then they saw him do that to others in game, he was able to then garner a following that would ultimately net him a lot of money if he was to be able to use that following. Now, we know that he did not. We know that he could not, but he can now. And everybody that comes up behind him can now. So I'm thinking of guys like Mikey Williams. I'm thinking of guys like Bronny James. And the list goes on and on, obviously. Master P's youngest son, well, I don't know if it's his younger son, but the one that plays up in Minnesota right now, Hersey just signed to go to Tennessee State. to play basketball. We've heard about him signing a $2 million NIL deal with the company. He has a younger brother who I actually think will be the more skilled of the two, has a chance to have a higher ceiling than Hersey does, than Lil Romeo did. So, like, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But all of these young men have an opportunity to make money off of their name, image, and likeness because of the followings they've been able to garner right now. You can do the same thing. Do you have a skill or talent that makes you a one of one? If you do, show that skill or talent all the time. Don't be afraid to post it in places. Don't be afraid to elicit responses. Work with the people who are in your circles. If you have a bunch of basketball players who have a decent following and you all start sharing out each other's information, guess what? You start to bring in the fan bases that each one of you individually have, therefore building your brand. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about brand now, but it's the truth. Your brand is what's going to make you money. So do you have a talent that is otherworldly? Do you have a talent that is freakish? If you do, that's going to make you more marketable because it's going to bring more eyes and it's going to build up your following. Make no mistake about it. The name, image, and likeness game in today's society right now is through social media. So the first thing you should do right now, if you don't have an Instagram, have one. If you don't have a Facebook, if you don't have a Twitter, oh, well, Facebook's for old people. Well, guess what old people do? They pay money, right? Exactly. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube page, TikTok. You need them all. And you need to start flooding those things with content. Another thing you should definitely talk about, and I know we talk about it in recruiting all the time, use your real name whenever possible. Don't make people have to find you. Make it obvious for them where you are. I don't want people to have to find me. I want me to just stick out. So everything that you see of me is Gene Clemens, and more specifically, most times it's Coach Gene Clemens. That's the lane in which I exist in. That's the area I want people to know. Hey, whatever I'm doing, I'm affiliated with sports in some manner, and so because of that, I want to keep that on brand. So every social media I'm on is at Gene Clemens. The name of my YouTube channel, Coach Gene Clemens. The name of everything that I do has that branding with it, because I want people to understand what it is they can expect when they click on Gene Clemens. That's going to be important for you to do. Now, here's another thing. You've got to bring people into your life. You can't just make it all professional. This is something that I think people don't realize, is that, yes, we follow athletes, but we follow athletes because we want to really understand what their life is like outside of the lines. Again, most of your deals will come because of things that you do off the field. So you want to be able to show people your personality whenever possible. Put up little vlogs, little lives with you just hanging out with your friends. Talk about your favorite music. Talk about something that you did that was embarrassing. Tell people about your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters. Tell to people about your friends, because they want to know that they're just like you, even though they're not like you, because you jump 40 inches or because you're 6'7". Like, they're going to go, oh, we have something in common. And if you can get a common link between people, now you have somebody that becomes a follower because they feel like they have something in common with you. That is very important in this game. Now, I want to go back to one of the things that we talked about earlier with this name, image, and likeness stuff. And that was that You're not allowed to use school insignia in order to make money. That is 100% true. But there is no rule that says you can't make content. There's no rule that says you can't make content that has your school insignia in it. If you look, some of the most viral videos are videos where people are wearing things or have an attachment to their university. So you can't use the university in order to push your merchandise, but you can do some drills on your Instagram, go live, do some drills on Instagram wearing your uniform or wearing your practice gear. Why? Because then you attach that to the school. Now you're giving the school free publicity, but you're also giving yourself free publicity. And if that turns into 1,000 more followers or 2,000 more followers, et cetera, that's going to be better for you. That's how you are able to kind of hustle, manipulate the game. You can't use their logos in your commercials, in your advertisement, but you can use them everywhere else. As long as you're not making money off of it, it's fair game. See how that works? One of the other things you want to look at is, okay, I have this presence. Where does my presence reach? Where is my reach at? Like most things, start local. The people who are going to know and love you the most are the people who are right in the immediate. Flood your college with stuff. If you're selling merch, don't try to sell your merch nationally. Sell your merch locally. Get with somebody who does merch, who produces merch. Have them sell your merch. Give some of your merch away, especially to other people who have a presence around campus. Let them know, hey, oh, I want that shirt. Oh, I want that hat. Where'd you get that hat from? Boom, go to this website. Whatever it might be, you want to be able to market that locally. Now, if you have a national presence, and you know if you have a national presence based off of who follows you and who doesn't. By the way, all of that stuff's available in your analytics on any one of your pages. Just do a little research. All it takes is a Google search. Once you figure, if you have a national reach, broadcast it nationally. But make sure that if you're taking people's money, that they get the product that they paid for. The last thing you want to do is have a negative connotation about you based off of what you do and what you don't do with people's money. If I'm going to send you $25 for a t-shirt, I sure as hell better get the t-shirt, right? That just makes sense. And I don't want to wait 8 weeks for the t-shirt. So if you're trying to go through some of these third-party distributors, understand that they have a cap on how many they have to collect, orders they collect before they ship out. So making people wait 8 weeks for a shirt is not going to make them want to buy anything else for you. If you're getting merch out there, to me, you should think of merch in 4 quarters. You should think about four different times a year that you want to produce new merch. Now, does that mean you can't do it more? Look, if you're getting 1,000 people buying merch from you every time you drop new merch, by all means, drop new merch all the time. Notice I didn't say if you're getting 10,000, 15, 20,000. That brings me to my next point. Don't think in terms of millions. Think in terms of continuous money coming in, continuous income rolling in, and at the end, you may have $1 million. Remember, you weren't able to make any money before. So now going from no money to $10,000 a year for your name, image, and likeness shouldn't be shunned at. Don't watch other players' pockets. If he makes more money than you, if she makes more money than you, then guess what? You have work to do. Applaud them. Maybe even reach out. Hey, Heidi, how do you make that type of money? How are you making that type of money off of your name, image, and likeness? Well, this is what I do. That seems like it's something applicable to me. I'm going to copy that. Because you copying what she's doing is not going to hurt her pockets. She already has her following. Don't be afraid to go out and collaborate with other athletes in order to bring your brands up together. To me, that's important because I believe that there's power in numbers. I just heard about the MMA organization, not organization, but the gym that's going to sponsor for $6,000 every single player on Miami's roster. How awesome is that? $6,000 for every single player on Miami's roster for them to promote their gym. Well, that's like $500,000 or something more, a little more than that. Why would that gym do that? Because the power of 90 football players who may or may not end up in that world anyway, but who all have a following of people who are either in athletics or around athletics. Most people who like football like MMA. It's smart. It's genius. And that's a drop in the bucket for them because they have stars that come through their gym. Is it American Top Team? It may be American Top Team. I forget the name. I apologize to the gym, but shout out to you for doing that. That is awesome. We want to make sure that our social media presence is big. We want to make sure that we're making connections, that everything we do is not just for money. But here's the thing you got to remember. You got to pay your taxes. You got to pay your taxes. So you need an accountant. Now, do you need to hire a full-time accountant? No. You need to get an accountant to be able to do your books, tell you where you're at, tell you how much. That can be done on an hour-by-hour basis. You probably need to have someone read these contracts for you. Does that mean you need an agent? No, it doesn't. You don't need an agent for this. You need a lawyer for this because that's what the lawyer does. Find a lawyer that deals in contracts. Have the lawyer on an hour-by-hour basis look over your contract and tell you where the discrepancies are. Now you go in with an open mind. Hey, use your head coach. I'm just saying, but once you find whatever the lawyer finds, go to your head coach and say, hey, coach, who probably has an agent, who's probably done a contract or two. Hey, this is what they're telling me. Do you think this is a good idea? Or do you think this is something I should go back to them? Hopefully they're going to steer you in the right direction, unless their name's, Dabo Sweeney, because he doesn't want you to get paid. But hopefully he comes around. I'm only kind of slightly joking about that. I'm being serious, but I'm kind of slightly joking. But you want to make sure you have a lawyer. You don't need to have one on the payroll. You just need to have one that you can hire hourly. Or better yet, go find an accountant major and go find a pre-law person that's on your campus and ask them if they want to make some money. I guarantee you they're going to tell you yes, and they're going to take care of you. You know why? Because now you're their first client, and now you can become a reference, or you could become their client for life. If you do good business together and they take care of you, you might be with them forever. And now that's someone you can trust because you both came up together. So there are tons of ways that you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. But make sure that you keep the main thing the main thing. Remember, you went to college to go to school. You went to college to play ball. And if you didn't go to college to go to school and play ball, if you went there just because they make you go there, then keep the main thing the main thing. Understand that you can't play ball if you don't go to school. And if you don't play ball, then the name, image, and likeness thing might get a little bit tricky. Start small, have fun with it. If it's not fun, then it's probably not for you. And if you have any questions about anything, don't be afraid to reach out to people who don't want anything in return. You can always reach out to me. I'll always give you my opinion. I don't want anything in return. I just want to see you all win. Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Happy hunting out there, and go get that money.